Carrie and this is Keep It Simple DIY. Today I am going to be canning turkey stock. I'm going to be using the recipe out of my USDA's Complete Guide to Home Canning. Definitely, anytime you're canning, make sure to be using a trusted, tested source so your canning is safe. I put the turkey carcass inside of my roaster pan about 2 nights ago, so it's been simmering for about 36 hours. I am going to ladle the broth into my fat separator and I will be putting the bones over in this pan over here so I can get all the way down to the bottom. I have 18 pint jars out and they have hot water in them. That's how many I can fit in my canner. And my canner is on the stove and heating up. It has just a little bit of water and some vinegar in it. So I am going to start getting this jarred up. Turkey broth is one of the easiest things to can because there's like hardly no prep work to it. You just throw everything in the pan and let it sit for a while. And then you just get left with this nice broth. So I have my red stopper on this fat separator, and that helps to make sure that we don't get extra fat in the spout. So the way I'm going to do this is just ladle some broth in. And I like to fill this all the way because then it'll fill up 2 pints perfectly. And then I'm going to let this sit here for just a few minutes so that way all the fat will rise to the top. And then in the meantime, I'm going to come over to this stock pot and I'm going to start taking all of the carcass and anything extra out of here. That way I'm just left with the broth. The broth has been sitting for just a minute or two, and I am going to remove the stopper and then empty a jar and then just pour this right on in. This pour spout makes this super simple. And I didn't add anything to my broth this time. I decided just to go plain, no salt, no nothing. I'm going to wipe the rim of this jar, get a new lid on it, and then put a ring on it and tighten it down finger tight, and then this will go into the canner. So now I'm just going to repeat this process with as many jars as I can fill, and then these process for I believe 20 minutes. Let's see. Yes, pints process for 20 minutes, and then I am at high altitude, so 15 pounds of pressure is what I'll need to set it to. Today with this broth, I'm trying out some lids that I've been avoiding using. So I'm trying out a few different kinds in hopes that if something doesn't seal, then we don't have all of them not seal. These are questionable lids that I bought in 2020, so we shall see. But I want to use them if they're going to work. I don't want to just waste them. I'm also making sure that my headspace is just at 1 inch and that my lids are tightly sealed. I'm on to my last 2 jars, and for the first time I think I actually made the perfect amount. Usually I end up with a little bit extra, which of course I don't complain about extra, but I have the perfect amount that'll fit in my canner worth of broth. And I have been straining the broth as I've been going just because I don't want all the extra pieces inside of the broth. I'd rather have the broth be a little bit more clear. I'm not too concerned about it being like super clear, but I just don't want all the extra pieces inside of it. All right, there's what we ended up with, which is basically just a bunch of sediment and fat. You can see here, this is how the fat separator separates the fat to the top. Our last 2 lids. I'm hoping that these lids all seal. And now I am going to get the canner lid on, and then we need to get that up to pressure. But at first it needs to vent for 10 minutes. So let's see. The lid on, and we'll turn the temperature up a little bit. And once the steam starts coming out of the vent, I will start the timer. The weight is now on. I'm just waiting for this to come up to 15 pounds of pressure, and once it does, we will start the official 20-minute timer. The canner has completely come down from pressure after going for 20 minutes. I am going to now take my gloves, my silicone gloves. I know it always looks silly, but you know, I do not like burns, and steam burns pretty badly. I'm just going to set it on top just for a little bit so that that steam comes out. And while that steams for just a second, I want to show you the extra broth that I got. So I put it in this glass. I will use this for some leftover turkey and stuffing and mashed potatoes that we have. But I was able to get this out of what was left in the fat separator and what was in the pan where I had put all of the extra pieces. I made sure to save any of that broth. So that, I had it in the fridge. I just took it out to show you. So that'll go back in the fridge as soon as I'm done here. So now we've let some of the steam come out. I'm going to take the lid off of the canner, and then I'm just going to take these jars out, and we're going to cross our fingers that they seal. And I can already see that some of these have buckled, so this is not good news. But if I have to, I will rerun them tomorrow with better lids, and then I will know which lids are no-goes. So like this one definitely didn't seal properly. I'm not surprised, you guys. I'm not surprised at all. Although I am kind of surprised which ones are buckling, because I have used a couple before, and this was the opposite response of what I was expecting to see happen. Oh, my shoulder. Your shoulder just gets so tired after doing this. Oh, just one more. Whew, we did it. It seems like just the top row had some that buckled, like this one buckled and this one buckled. That might be the only two that buckled though. Everything else from the bottom row seems just fine, buckle-wise at least. This one should be fine. This is a Harvest Guard? Harvest, I don't know. It's the ones from Walmart that are gold. And then these other ones were just blank, and then they said canning jars. No, or did it just say canning? It just says canning. So the just canning ones are the ones that buckled, which I'm super surprised about. I thought it would be the other ones. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here and haven't yet, please subscribe. I'd love to see you, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.